best to date, not just to have a relationship. You don't have to put a title on everything, Devin. That's what you need to start telling these people. A title, you don't. No,
what I need to do is I need to direct people to this video and show you what's wrong. You don't need to put a title on nothing. It needs to just be free flowing. Yeah, yep. And over here, stuff works. Where you at, it don't. You don't need to put a title on everything. You can have babies out of wedlock. You don't need to be married. You can do what you want to. We're the only community that operates like that. That's why you got to take power back from these mindsets. Have you ever opened up something at the building and it came with instructions?
Of course.
And it came with parts?
Of course.
The way you're talking is you just start doing shit. You don't need the instructions. You don't need that. Just start putting shit together. You want to live on the 5th floor of a building like that?
You got me sweating, Kevin. I'm going to leave. I got to go.
All right. Welcome back, everyone, to the I Didn't Read Your Book podcast YouTube channel. I am Lutch, your host, and today we are going to be talking about Kevin Samuels. Unfortunately, he passed away this week at the age of 53, and a lot of people are saying 56, but he was 53. And I just wanted to say my piece and talk a little bit about why he was so important to me. You know, a lot of people didn't like Kevin. A lot of people thought that he was hating on women and, doing what he did for clout and all that kind of stuff. That's just not the way that I saw him. And that's just not the role that he played in my life. So, I played that little clip because, if you're not familiar at all with Kevin, then, that's what he does. He has a call-in show, had a call-in show. Women would choose to call into his show and talk about different aspects of dating and marriage and stuff like that. And it was specifically centered around the Black community, of which I am not a part. However, the messages were generalizable. Messages were good for anybody. He was a Black man, and a lot of the people who called were Black men and women. So that is where a lot of the conversation happened. But again, you don't have to be Black to understand how valuable this man was. So turning back the clock a little bit, when I was growing up, I had a great childhood. There's so many things that I didn't even realize were blessings. Both my parents were together. My parents had good jobs. We lived in a nice neighborhood in a nice home. I never had to worry about, where my next meal was coming from. I never had any of those types of problems. I didn't even realize I was wearing this shirt, but I went to a private university, and my dad was able to pay for that outright. So I graduated with a degree and zero debt. That's just a tiny piece of what my dad has done for me. My dad has been a force in my life that I wouldn't be here without him. I wouldn't be physically here. I wouldn't be talking to you without him, and I wouldn't have this podcast without him. But as I was growing up, he, being a doctor, worked a lot. And that left my mom to be the one who would raise myself and my siblings for the most part. Aside from that, my parents are a little bit older, and dating in marriage and the way that works for their generation is not the way things work these days. Not to mention that I am a first generation American. They immigrated to this country about 40 years ago. So it's not like they're fresh off the boat, but they were married before they came here. And so they both of them had no frame of reference for what the current American modern dating scene was like. But, I grew up like many other guys, had girlfriends here and there, but my framework and my model for how to be in relationships came from my own parents, as well as media. And we'll call that the Disney aspect. In my parents' relationship, they've been together for over 30 years. It's probably, I don't remember exactly, but it's right around 40 years, and they're still going strong. But they have a type of relationship that like I said, because my dad was working so much, it necessitated that my mom took a more authoritative role in the household. And that carried over just in the fact that she has a more a type A personality, and my dad is a little bit more of a laid back guy, and he works hard. So when he was at home, there was not a lot of focus on from my perspective on things like the frame of their relationship. And he just is one of those happy wife, happy life types of guys. And that's great for what that is if it works out for you. But trying to replicate that in my own life didn't work. I know, I'm not an ugly dude. I'm certainly not doing any modeling anytime soon. But I'm also a short guy. And I didn't realize how much of an obstacle that really would be, because like I said, I had a girlfriend in college, I had a girlfriend in high school, but just the effort that it took to interact and date with girls outside of those specific relationships required so much energy, and just I didn't get what I thought I would get out of it. All my life I thought I'm that guy that's ready to put it all out there, be a great husband and father, and if I just show that women will be more than will be over the moon to find a guy like that, instead of the typical jerk that this, that, and the other. I didn't understand how women view men in this way, and so I was very quick to give up my frame and just try to do whatever it was to make the girls that I was trying to court just whatever would make you happy. And that, if you're still not realizing why that's wrong in these days, it's because women now have the choice of so many so many different guys. The stigma of promiscuity has virtually gone away completely. The hookup culture has developed into, if you look good, then that's good enough. I can definitely play that game, and I don't have the energy to play that game and to fight for these girls and for some dude who I know is not as nice, not as smart, not as whatever, but he's taller and he's jacked and he's this and he's that. And for a long time, I got mad at not only the women for choosing those type of guys, but those type of guys for being better than I am. And it followed me for a long time, and I just thought very lowly of myself. And eventually I just stopped really trying to date at all, because I didn't think that there was much that I could offer. And I internalized that to a degree that caused a lot of depression and heartbreak, and it stopped me from experiencing a lot of the just social experiences that I would have otherwise enjoyed, because I was so focused on, why doesn't she like me? Why doesn't this? Why doesn't that? And it wasn't until actually the start of the Rona, and I was still in this mindset. And I started dating this girl just because she matched with me on Facebook dating, of all places. It was right at the beginning. We had just closed everything down, and we were texting back and forth all day. And it was, it's clear to me now that this type of girl who's just so on top of needing attention is either going to stay that way forever, or it's just going to burn out and fade away, which is what happened. And I was heartbroken. Within 3 weeks, I felt like I had fallen in love with this girl, that she had a 9-year-old daughter that I was ready to say, I'm going to be stepdaddy. And all the while I saw what I now know are the red flags. The fact that she had not a great relationship with her family, and that she was fresh, like weeks out of her last long-term relationship, which was not with the father of her child. All of these things that, as somebody who wants to build my own family, that it didn't bode well for those things. If she already has a kid, then she doesn't want another kid. I want a kid of my own. If she's doesn't have a good relationship with her family, then she's less likely to be able to form healthy relationships with me and our potential family. And of course, that's not to say that just because a woman doesn't have a great relationship with her family or doesn't have a great past, that she can't be a good wife. But this girl specifically, it was clear to me that those things were directly tied to why she was not a good partner and not a good partner for me. But I just ignored all of that because I was so desperate for, the female attention. And I ate it up and I got so attached to it so quickly. And then she got bored. I was just some rebound. I was just some pandemic hookup, some guy to fill the space. And I didn't realize that women were doing that. And so when I found out that that is what was the case, again, it was heartbreaking. I crumbled because I thought this girl was really ready to start a life with me. Right around this time, I had found Kevin Samuel's content. And at first, it was super cathartic. All I was taking from it were the clips of the type of thing that I showed at the beginning, where the woman was getting owned. And again, I was still angry at the world because of these things. And it was again, it was cathartic to see these women who they would expect these high value men, as it's been come to known. At first, again, made me bitter. But then as I started watching more in the manosphere, but Kevin was really always my North Star. He always seemed to be the one who understood things the best and was willing to have the conversations that not only I needed to hear, but that these women needed to hear. And again, it's not like he was seeking out anybody to attack them. He had a call-in show. Women voluntarily called in. And so many of them would call in, have a contentious conversation, and then weeks, months, whatever later, call back in and be thanking Kevin for changing their perspective and allowing them to find a man of value that they value. That showed me that it's not just that that there's something wrong with me, that the whole landscape of modern dating was screwy. And to combat that, again, being a short guy, that's a big hurdle. But if that's the way it is, it's not like girls are getting to know me and turning away my personality. It was quite the opposite, that, I'd become that friend zone guy, and real women really would like me. But I just didn't do it for them because I wasn't physically what they were looking for. The conclusion from that is not that I'm worthless, I'm this, I'm that, but that perceptions on both sides, on all sides, are, again, they're messed up, and people have their priorities all out of whack, and that all I can do is take what I can change into my own hands and start working on those things like getting my money up. Things like, working on the rest of my body. I can't get taller, but I can certainly get bigger. I can certainly not get fat. And I can create something like this platform that is of value and present myself to the world in a different way, instead of just being angry at everyone for the world being the way that it is. And the bitterness that I had from feeling entitled to the same type of romantic experiences that these top 10% guys would have, I realized that wasn't fair. And I realized that as much as I am hurting from essentially being ignored by females in any romantic context, that women were also having issues finding the guys that they found valuable, even if their perceptions were messed up, even if their priorities were messed up. It's not like they were doing that maliciously. Again, this is just the Disney aspect of it all, where you think that, you just go on and live your life, and somebody, Prince Charming or Sleeping Beauty will just fall into your lap. And that's why you see, Kevin talked a lot about how women would always go back to school instead of finding a man. And then that creates an imbalance, because women are now earning so much money and they don't want to date down, whereas men will date down, and all this kind of stuff. And I just didn't know. I wish I could distill everything that Kevin taught me into, one small message, but there's so much to it that there's no way I could do that justice. So I struggle to find the right words to encapsulate what exactly it is that I'm feeling. But I just wanted to put something out there. So sorry to interrupt your podcast experience. I just want to remind you, if you're enjoying what you're watching, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content. And if you really love it, there's some support links in the description. I would love if you could help out the channel. And back to the show. That says that this man changed my life. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have a wife. I don't have a family. I'm not that much different from the outside. I mean, my hair's pretty much longer. Well, you guys never saw me short hair, but I'm pretty much the same guy, but I have a much brighter outlook on life because of how someone like Kevin, who is, whether he, there's argumentation about whether he has been a high value man or whether he did the whole fake it till you make it. That doesn't really matter to me, because what I saw was somebody who was of value at the point that I saw him, and was somebody who other people saw had value, advocating for people like me, advocating for these women to not overlook guys just because they're not making six figures and they're not 6 feet tall and they don't have all the muscles in the world and all of all of this stuff, especially when these women are not perfect individuals either. And again, it's not to put anybody down. It's about being realistic. And it's about showing that, okay, I have to come to terms with the fact that I'm a short guy. And in the same way that, if I'm not attracted to obese women, then most women are not attracted to short guys. But there's other ways to garner attraction than just the physical. And when I can do that on my part, and then there's someone like Kevin speaking directly to these women, imploring them to stop just looking at the superficiality and really thinking about what it is that they want and what they need, more importantly, for their life when it comes to men and dating and marriage and all that stuff. And it always seemed like a way to balance the scales and even things out. And I know that a lot of women didn't like him because they don't like the idea that they're maybe not the boss chick that they think they are. But in the same way that I had to come to terms with, I really am this short guy. And so if I want to be of value to any women, then I have to create it elsewhere. That some tall, handsome dude might not have to do that. And that's just the way the world is. These women, and just women in general, we're getting a direct dose of that message in the inverse, in the way that's appropriate to them. And I just hadn't seen that before. We had like the Fit and Fresh podcast, which is, I guess they were trying to do the same thing, but they fail miserably because they don't know how to have these conversations. They don't seem to really know how to talk to women at all outside of just spewing their ideology. Like they're the anti-feminists, in my opinion. But there was a lot of people who tried to copy what Kevin was doing because he was so damn good at it. And nobody could recreate Kevin Samuels. There's only one Kevin Samuels. He is going to be missed. I really hope that there are people like myself, channels like We Need to Talk, the Talking Shit podcast, Entrepreneurs in Cars, Rich Cooper's channel, that will continue talking about these issues. And hopefully there is someone who can fill the gap somewhat that the loss of Kevin is leaving us with. But I think we are without somebody that will never be replaced. And it's really sad, but I implore you, if you're not familiar with who Kevin Samuels was, or you feel like you had an idea of Kevin Samuels without actually really watching a lot of his content, take some time, watch 1 or 2 streams all the way through, just to see what it was. I guarantee you there's something in there that, even if it doesn't apply directly to you, that seeing it play out in the way that it plays out will put a lot of things in perspective for you. That's at least how it worked for me. It's tough. I've been blessed to the point where I haven't had a lot of loss in this way in my life. That made it hit all that much harder when my best friend, my brother, not my blood brother, but my who I considered my brother more than anyone else, when he passed away about 10 years ago. That was the first person that was really close to me that had passed away. I'd had distant relatives pass away, but nobody that was really part of my daily life. Even people that I knew from high school or college who had passed away. It's like, of course, it's sad, it's horrible, but it's not like my life is going to be directly affected by their not being there. In the same way that I talked to my best friend every day, I watched Kevin Samuels every single day. It was my morning routine. He would stream late at night, and then the next morning, I would be able to, while I'm getting ready for work or while I'm, just waking up and kind of chilling in bed and checking social media and all that stuff, I would have that on. It's the first thing, and I'm not going to have that anymore. Thankfully, I spent enough time with Kevin's content that I think I took the message as far as I needed it. The level to which I was watching these videos for informational purposes had gone down over time, because once you're inundated with the message is really the same. When women look at the dating market, they value themselves too high. They don't want to date below, and so that puts them in this weird category where they can get sexual attention from the men that they're looking for, but not anything more. And then on the men's side, we also were overestimating our value and expecting that we should have the same rights in the dating context as these top 10% guys, and having to come to terms with the fact that maybe you're just average at best, and that's okay. We can be average together, and we can try to be better. We can do all these things that Kevin wanted us to do, and I don't know. I guess I'm going to leave it there. I hope something more of this comes to me that I can share with you. I know this is a little bit all over the place, but not saying anything would be worse. R.I.P. to Kevin Samuels, the Godfather. Please go pay some respects on his channel or his Instagram. Just leave something. I'm sure he has a daughter that is now without a father. And it's sad. So let's mourn, and then take everything that Kevin did for all of us and make something of it. Again, I am Lutch of the I Didn't Read Your Book podcast. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. I would really appreciate that. And I'll be back next time with something a little happier, I promise. Until then, I am out of here.